Archbishop Fulton Sheen once said, "There was never a preacher like the dying Christ. There was never a congregation like that which gathered about the pulpit of the cross. There was never a sermon like the 7 last words."
At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. And at 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani," which is translated, my God, why have you forsaken me?" My name is Francisco Ortiz. I come from a descendant of Latin immigrant parents. My mom's from El Salvador, my dad's from Puerto Rico. I was born in Vallejo, California. I'm 28 years old, and for the past 7 years I've been serving as music director at church. It's St. Raphael Arcangel and Mission San Rafael Arcangel in San Rafael, California. This is the 4th of Jesus' quoted 7 last words. It's right in the middle. My God, why have you forsaken me?" In the Gospels, both of Mark and Matthew, this is also the last phrase that we hear in each of those passions. And 2 things stand out to me. Obviously, here is Jesus quoting from the Psalms. Psalm 22, my God, why have you forsaken me?" In all other times in his reference to God, Jesus calls him rightfully Father. But this time, he refers to him as my God. To me, that emphasizes relationship. It's always, for Jesus, been about the relationship with others, with his disciples, with the sinners, with the tax collectors, with the prostitutes. It's about the relationship. Here he's emphasizing my God, his God. Why have you forsaken me? Why am I alone? Why am I abandoned? We hear it in the New Testament. What can separate us from the love of God? Nothing. It's ourselves that does that, and that's our own sin. Jesus didn't sin, so why does he feel abandoned at this time? Because he's atoning for us. Because he's bearing it all for us, and he's bearing it out of love. That suffering that he's going through, his death, which he will endure, ultimately transcends human suffering and human death, becoming glorious on his resurrection on Easter Sunday. In my own life, and especially in my ministry as a music director, many people, friends, family, co-workers, even fellow parishioners working with me in the same ministry, come to me and sometimes ask me this: why am I alone? Why am I being forsaken? The truth is, we're never really forsaken. We are never really alone. I think we just sometimes forget. God is with us always. Jesus is with us always. And this is what he's trying to remind us of. Why have you forsaken me? Now, we all go through suffering and agony. Obviously, nothing can measure up to what Christ has gone through for us, but does it have a reason? When we sin, we're making a choice, and that choice ultimately separates us from God until we're able to turn around and say, we're sorry. We're ready to move on. We've accepted what we did, we realize what we did, and we're going to move on. That gives our suffering reason, that gives our suffering purpose, and ultimately we learn to love more because of our suffering and because of our own agony. For me personally, through a very close and very dear friend, I was able to come back home after 6 years of not going to the Sacrament of Reconciliation. I felt apart from God. Though I always felt God's love, I felt sorry for my sins, but I had not gone to the sacrament. And it was going to the sacrament, receiving absolution, having the minister's hands, the priest's hands laid on my head, that I felt Jesus' love, that I felt God's love. And I did not feel forsaken. I did not feel alone. I didn't feel abandoned. I felt welcomed. I felt embraced. And ultimately, I do believe this is what I'll feel at my death. I won't feel alone. I won't feel forsaken. I won't feel abandoned. Jesus must have been going through some sort of agony, knowing that he is God's son, and can turn to his human side and say, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because he really knew that he wasn't forsaken, but he knew that he was doing this for us. So now when I suffer, when I'm in agony, I know this is nothing compared to what Christ went through for me. And I know that my suffering has a reason, and that reason ultimately is love. We're called to love one another as God loves us.